And then also you can serve others. See, paradoxically, almost seeming, serving others can help us worship God more fully. See, as we serve, we imitate Christ and often find our own problems and idols shrinking in comparison to the needs of those around us. Next, you could practice fasting. See, fasting from not just from food, but maybe social media or other comforts that we find in our lives that can help us identify things that we might be overly dependent on and redirect our dependence to God. So when we're living out this first commandment, it's not just about us and God. It's actually a really incredibly powerful way to show the world around us who God is and what He's all about. See, there's this awesome verse in 1 Peter 2:9. It says this, "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a people for His own possession, that you may proclaim the excellence of Him who called you out of darkness and into His marvelous light." Did you catch that? See, we're chosen to declare God's praises. See, our devotion to God is like a megaphone, and it's broadcasting to the world how excellent He is. So think about it, right? We're living in a world where everyone seems to be chasing after something, right? Money, fame, pleasure, you name it. But when we choose to orient our whole lives around God, putting Him first above everything else, it's like we're swimming upstream. And let me tell you, people notice that. It's like wearing a neon sign that says, like, there's something different here. It makes people curious. They start asking questions like, why are you so content? How can you be so generous? Where does your peace come from? And boom, just like that, we've got an opportunity to share about the hope that we have in Christ. It's exactly what Peter talks about in 1 Peter 3:15, when he says that we should always be ready to give an answer for the hope that we have. But it goes also even deeper than that, as if we haven't gone too far into this already. But our exclusive worship of God is like a wake-up call to our culture. Okay, whenever we refuse to bow down to the gods of our age, things like consumerism or the cult of self-fulfillment, we're showing that there's a different way to live. We're saying, hey, there's someone greater than all of this. It's like we're living billboards for a life that finds its purpose and center in God alone. And in a world that's constantly searching for meaning and fulfillment and happiness and joy in all the wrong places, that's a really powerful message. So next time you're tempted to think that your faith is just a personal thing between you and God, remember this, that your devotion to God is a light in the darkness. It's a signpost that's pointing to a better way. And who knows, your commitment to putting God first might just be the thing that helps someone find their way to Him. It could change eternity for someone else. So as we wrap up this very first commandment, let's return to our main text for today, which is Exodus 20, verse 3. It says, "You shall have no other gods before me." We've seen that this commandment is not a burdensome rule, but it's an invitation to freedom, to fulfillment, and to flourishing in life. It's a call to align our lives with our ultimate purpose, to glorify God and to enjoy Him forever. And so we've experienced how this commandment, how it finds its fullest expression in the gospel of Jesus Christ, who lived the perfect life of devotion to God that we couldn't. And He died for our spiritual adultery and rose again to empower us to lives of wholehearted worship. I can't even, it's beyond words. And so the question really that I have for you is, what are you going to do with this commandment? How will you respond to God's call for your exclusive worship? I want to challenge you, specifically you, to take some steps this week. Okay, the first one would be this, is, I mentioned it earlier, but conduct a thorough, just kind of heart inventory. Maybe set aside an hour or two just to prayerfully examine your life. If you're a believer or not, do this. Okay, just an hour or two, prayerfully examine your life. Ask God, even if it's your very first prayer, ask God to show you any idols that might be competing for His place in your heart. And then just choose one practical step from that list that we discussed earlier, like practicing gratitude, and commit it to implementing it this week. And then also maybe find an accountability partner. If you don't have someone specific, leave a comment down below and say, here's what I'm doing this week. Right? But find someone, if you can, who can regularly ask you how you're doing in giving God exclusive worship. And then memorize a verse that reminds you of God's worthiness of worship. Perhaps a great one would be Psalm 20, verse 3 itself. Or Psalm 16:11 is another one that says, you make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. So remember, this isn't about perfectly keeping a command. We're not going to be able to perfectly keep the 10 Commandments. They point to Jesus for a reason. But it's about continually reorienting our hearts toward God, relying on His grace and growing in our love for Him. And as we do this, we'll find that He indeed, the only one worthy of our ultimate allegiance, the only one who can truly satisfy our souls, that's what comes forth. So I just want to thank you for joining me for this very first video in this series of diving into the 10 Commandments. And I just want to encourage you to subscribe, and if you got value out of this, I hope you did. But hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, and just maybe set aside some time each week just to watch through these videos and just learn the 10 Commandments, right? Super fundamental to the Christian faith. Why not take the time just to learn?